This is Turn It Up a Notch with best-selling author, trainer, and coach Gary Michels. Gary is the co-founder of the fastest-growing sales training company, Southwestern Consulting. Supercharge your sales team. Go to turnitapanotch.com to learn more about what Gary Michels training can do for your organization. And now, here's your host, Gary Michels.
Now I'd want to tell you a little bit about our next guest. I'm really excited to be speaking with Ray today. And Ray De la Garza began his career in the music industry at KIIS FM in 1983. And in 1989, he was Paula Abdul's first road manager. He co-owned dance label Envious Records and worked at the ABC radio networks, Premier Radio Networks, and RadioVisa in positions as Vice President of Programming, Senior Vice President of Programming, General Manager, and Chief Operating Officer. While at Premier Radio Networks, De la Garza was directly in charge of the Jim Rome Show, Rick Dees Weekly Top 40, Rick Dees in the Morning, Hollywood Confidential with Leeza Gibbons, and created Fox Sports Radio Network and Carson Daly Most Requested. Before his recent appointment as General Manager of 2101 Records, Ray served as Vice President of Programming at Radio Disney for 5 years. And Ray, what a pleasure to have you on the show today. Obviously, you have done a lot in your life, and 2101 Records is actually blessed to have you on their team. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about what your main responsibilities are at the station, and a little bit about your career with Radio Disney and what prompted the move to 2101 Records?
Absolutely. Well, Gary, thank you very much for inviting me on the show. It's a great opportunity for 2101 Records. The company's been established for about a year now. The company is owned by one of the biggest producers in the world. His name is Red One, and if you look at any chart, Red has produced probably half of the top 40 songs that are out there. So it's a great opportunity. Red just needed a business person to come in and help him run the label. Being the CEO, running the label, and producing other people is extremely overwhelming for one person to do. My background, I love business. I love to go in there and create business models and watch the success of the business models. It's the same thing that I did at Radio Disney. I was at Radio Disney for 5 years, and they had a great brand, a great product, but the business model just was not working. And they brought me in to work on the business model. And when I went into Radio Disney, they had a listenership, a weekly cum of around 8 million. And after a year, I had that built up to 36 million. So it's all about fixing something, fixing a business and getting it together.
That's so common. We do a lot of work with franchises, and people get into the business because they're excited about what that business is, yet they don't have the business savvy to do it, or they don't have the technical skills to do it. So it sounds like you're right in line with that.
Yeah, and what really helps is when you have a brand and you have something attached to it that you know that you can see the success, that you can vision that there's going to be success. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, but as long as you can vision the success and you have a great brand to start out with, then to me, that's a home run in whatever business it might be. For me, thankfully, it's just been the entertainment business, but it doesn't matter what business it is.
Let's continue our discussion after the break. You're listening to Turn It Up a Notch with Gary Michels, and Ray De la Garza will share with us how he will inspire his staff at 2101 Records. We'll be right back.
This is Turn It Up a Notch with best-selling author, trainer, and coach Gary Michels. This is Turn It Up a Notch with best-selling author, trainer, and coach Gary Michels. Gary is the co-founder of the fastest-growing sales training company, Southwestern Consulting. Supercharge your sales team. Go to turnitapanotch.com to learn more about what Gary Michels training can do for your organization.
If you're just tuning in, I'm Gary Michels, and you're listening to Turn It Up a Notch, and we're discussing with Ray De la Garza, General Manager of 2101 Records, how he can inspire his team and transform his organization. What music genre is on your label? What direction are you going? You said you've just recently started with them, and the label's been around for a year. But what direction are you going with your music genre?
Most of it is pop. Most of it is top 40 music, but we still have some artists that are in the EDM world, which is really taking off, the electronic dance world. We also have a band that's an alternative band. urban, but mainly it's pop. And what happens is, it's pop, and it might have a little bit of an alternative edge, so we'll pick up the pop world plus the alternative world. But really, our realm, it's top 40, it's pop radio.
Okay. And for our listeners that aren't real familiar about how your industry works, what are some of the differences in how a record would be made and marketed for a Radio Disney artist like Selena Gomez versus somebody like DJ Havana Brown?
Sure. Well, especially with Radio Disney, whatever artist you're doing, you're targeting the family. You're targeting that mom who drives the van and who has 4 or 5 kids in the back. Some are her own, and then she's the carpool mom who also has 2 other kids. So you're really focusing on the family. Compared to what we're doing now now that we're going after the adults in the top 40 world, your whole marketing plan and your whole promotions plan is really tailor-made to that person that's 18 to 34.
Sure.
And when you do that, then it comes that you're creating stuff that's for the nightclubs. You're creating things for live events. You want to fill seats. You want to make sure that people are buying your product and people are hearing your product. So it's really it's twofold. You're doing one for the family, and you're doing another one for the masses of the population.
So I'm curious. You're I could tell you're driven, and you've done a lot in your career, and now you come into 2101. If you were to say, focus it down to one main thing that you're doing to get that business direction the way that you all want it to be, what would you say your one main focus is right now?
The main focus is communication. Communication with all of our partners that we have, whether it's an artist like DJ Havana Brown, or it's one of the label partners that we have, like with DJ Havana Brown, our label partner is Republic. It's just about sharing the communication, and at the end of the day, everybody can help out, and I'm a true believer that 2 heads are better than one, especially in the communication business.
Sure.
The more people that can help out, the merrier, but everybody needs to share the information. If you don't share the information, you keep it to yourself, it really is useless. It's all about communication. I'm a huge fan of communication. My first job, like you mentioned earlier, was at KIIS FM.
Right.
And Rick Dees, famous disc jockey, he spent a lot of time with me when I was 18 years old, and he told me one thing that I continue to live by, and I take it to every job that I go to. And he always said, he told me when I was young, he said, "Don't ever get in the boat by yourself." He goes, and you'll figure this out a couple of years down the road. But remember, I told you, don't ever get in the boat by yourself. And it was so true, because when you're having success, you think that, I don't need anybody because I'm so great. But you don't always have success. And sometimes when you get into those troubled times, you need people to back you up. And you need to have those people in the boat with you, because you can't just go to them all of a sudden and say, "Hey, I need your help now." They're like, "Well, wait a minute. You were on top of the world 6 months ago. You didn't even know my name. Now you need my help." Well, no, you always keep those core people around you. So it was a great lesson that I learned from Rick, and 30 years later, I still value those words.
It's so true, and quite often people won't ask for help because their ego gets in the way. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy, and you've probably heard the acronym TEAM, and together everyone achieves more. And even though it's a cliche, it's so true. I believe the best companies and best organizations in this world, if they see a good partner, someone that can partner with them to help take them to the next level, they're not going, "Oh man, I get less now." They're going, "How could we work together to take this thing even better and higher?" And I feel that I feel like we're on the same page there.
Yeah, I love building teams, and that's part of it. I've always known that I need to have core people around me, and I have core people around me when things are great, and I have those same core people when things are not so great, because you always need them around.
That's right. So when I began coaching clients, so we do a lot of things at Southwestern Consulting. We do national and international trainings. We do coaching. We do keynote speaking. We do consulting. But when I began coaching, I often found a disconnect from executives' intent and the execution at the operations level. So how do you convey your objectives to your team and ensure everyone in your organization embraces your vision, because you're leading it now?
Mm-hmm. Again, it goes back to communication. I sit down, I have a weekly staff meeting,
okay,
and I let them know what I'm actually working on. and I want to know what they're working on, and I want other departments to know what they're working on, because you never know who can help you at any given time. But you can't be in the bowl all by yourself. So I really share as much information with it. It goes back to sharing and the communication part. It might sound redundant, but to me those are just so important about any business that you're in. It doesn't matter if it's entertainment, if it's financial, or wherever you're at. It's just sharing the information. And when you let people participate, they have an ownership in it. Yeah. And they feel more obligated that, wow, you know what, I just contributed to something, and I'm happy that I did that. It might not even be in my department, but as long as I'm contributing to the overall goal, then we all win.
Yeah, that the word partner has been a big word over the last few years. That's really big in the business. It's the big buzzword now that they feel like they're partners with you, even though you may have a title as the leader in the company. Mm-hmm. If they're your partner, we're together, we're building this as a team. That's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I told everybody when I came in. I inherited a staff of 10, and we're growing that. But I told everybody, I need everybody's help. I'm not coming in. I can't fix any of this. And the direction that we have, Red One has an incredible vision. Me and him both had, the same direction, and I'm here to help him and make sure that it gets there. But I need a team, and I need everybody behind me, and they all need to participate, because I don't need everybody just telling me, yes, I'll do that. I need people to say, how can we do it even better?
Oh man, brother, we think the same way. So, like I said when I introduced you today, 210 Records is very lucky to have you, and I see with your long list of achievements that a lot of good things are to come. And before we go to our break, if you could tell our listeners how they can find out more about your label, how they might have some partnerships with you, share artists, and how to get in touch with you, how would you recommend they go about it?
The easiest way, social media is big in our world. The easiest way is you just go straight to the website, 2101records.com. Okay. And it's 2101 and then the word records, 2101records.com. All the information is there. All of our artist links are there. Our contact information is there. Anything that you want to know about this label, it's up there. And that's really the easiest way of communication. There's contact lists. There's everything that you can think of. It's up on the website, 2101records.com.
Sounds good. I'm your host, Gary Michels, and after the break, how to create positive changes in your life with Larry Winget. We're going to be back in 2 minutes.
This is Turn It Up a Notch with best-selling author, trainer, and coach Gary Michels.